we take a breath, allowing that breath not just to move through our body, but also to relax our muscles. With every breath in, it's a reminder that we are within the very presence of Godness, that we are part of the allness, that we are one eachness inside of God. We breathe, we relax, we allow everything that it took to get here this morning just to be where it was. We allow it all to settle. We bring our awareness to this present moment. And if thoughts move through, we're not pushing them away. We're not resisting the fact that thoughts are happening. Our mind is meant to ideate. It's what it does. What we do, however, in these moments is just shift our relationship to those thoughts. Instead of attaching to them as they move through, we just let them move by, kind of like fish swimming by in a koi pond. So beautiful, so wonderful, and moving on through unimpeded. We allow them to flow. Those thoughts, they'll come back when it's time. They'll leave the seeds that need to be left as they move through us, guiding our way forward after this meditative time. We take a moment now to feel inside and to remember, what does it feel like in our bodies? Where do we feel it? How does it feel to be nurtured? Just call to mind, what does it feel like to be hugged and loved and supported in that way that we associate with mothering? Maybe even recall a time when you just felt like everything was good. All is at peace. There's nothing that needs to be worried about. There's nothing that we need to do. We are feeling loved, appreciated, supported, and relaxed. Just let that feeling move through you, claiming that I am nurtured by the love of God. I am guided by the presence of God awareness in every thought. I am held in the loving arms of God itself. There is nowhere that I could ever be that God is not there with me. There is nothing that I could ever face that God would not be there guiding me through. There is nothing I need to strive or reach for. I simply need to let God be in me. To know that Godness is never, ever away from my next thought, my next breath, my next action. That presence of God awareness is guiding me through, always, in every moment, nurturing me and loving me. And as we allow that feeling to just settle inside of us, notice where it is that you feel nurtured. Notice how wonderful that giant hug from Godness feels. And we just take that feeling and let it settle into our bones and cells and breath for just a moment in the silence. Oh, and then we just let it be. We let it inform the way that we feel about how loved we are. God is there in every breath, in every second, in everything that we do, and in all that we are. We are so grateful. We say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. Amen. The wind beneath my wings. Oh, thank you. Wow. I think I've been singing this song. Well, I don't know when it came out. I remember watching Beaches and watching Bette Midler slam that song. Oh my gosh. And laughing and crying and moving through that movie and laughing and crying and moving through those feelings. And I've sang that song through years. And it's so funny because I always keep the words with me when I'm using the track because she did it a very specific way. And you want to do it the way the track goes, right? And about a third of the way through, when I was looking at the words and about to sing the words, do you ever know that you're my hero and everything that I would like to be? I can fly higher than an eagle, for you are the wind beneath my wings. And I had this momentary thought go through my head in my awareness, and that doesn't happen a lot, intrusive thoughts during singing because you're focused and you're trying to sing the words, but I thought of my kids and how many times I was not anywhere near the mother that I wanted to be. About how many times that I felt like I fell so far short of what they needed or what I hoped to be able to give them or what I wanted and needed when I was being mothered. You know, we're such complex creatures. We are so multi-layered and we have so many wounds and so many triumphs and so many things that we carry inside of us that are works in progress. And I tried really hard to be a great mom. And boy, did I do a bad job of it, an awful lot growing up. You know, everybody here knows so much about the fact that my husband passed before I came here, but I had 2 other husbands. I really tried hard to get it right. And the joke between my first husband and my third husband, who absolutely adored one another, by the way, and anytime they gathered together, I was the brunt of every joke. And they would tease about, does she still do this? And does that annoy you as much as it annoyed me? And so I really. But the 2 of them would get together, and there was so much healing in the fact that different parts of my life, and when I fell down, and when I scraped my knees, and when because of me scraping my knees, my kids got their knees scraped, are a part of all of this. My third husband never had any blood children. He was so abused as a child and had such a horrible upbringing that he swore he would never have children. And he and my second husband and his girlfriend, wait, that doesn't sound right. Hold on. I was friends with my third husband for more than 30 years, for more than 20 of it before we ever became involved with one another. And we were 2 couples that used to hang out together. And so it was a wonderful thing to be able to, God, where am I going with this? I have no idea. Why did I put my foot in this morning? What are you guys doing to me lately? I don't know what this is. The thing is my third husband got to experience parenthood when my daughter and my granddaughter moved in with us when my granddaughter was 6 months old. They were going to stay for 6 months. Yeah. They left when my granddaughter was 4. And so my third husband, who never wanted to be a parent, got to watch all those moments and hold that precious baby. And in the middle of the night, when my daughter was at her wit's end and couldn't get the baby to go back to sleep, and then I was at my wit's end trying to help her get the baby back to sleep and couldn't. And my late husband could come in when we were ready to scream, pick up the baby. Within 15 seconds, she would go right to sleep. That nurturing, that mothering doesn't have to come with a bloodline. That nurturing, that mothering doesn't have to come with a female incarnation. Some of the worst abuses in lives have happened between mothers and children, or children and mothers. That nurturing is within all of us. And we bring it out in different ways and with different people. When my first husband and my third husband would get together and hang out, they always used to try to bring my second husband in on this stuff. They would flash their numbers at one another like gang signs, okay? When they would see each other. My first husband, my husband, as we call him, my first husband was always, all puffed up at the fact that he was number one. Still is, to this day, he will still remind me that he was number one. And we all nurture one another. I had my first husband, and my breakup was horrifying. It was terrible. It was movie of the week worthy dramatic scenes, okay? Horrifying. It took us years to recreate a relationship that we could nurture our child in, because I have a child from my first marriage and a child from my second marriage. And we learned, because we were right out of high school, we were in high school when we moved out together and lived on our own at 17. Yeah, right? I don't recommend it, but it was the path I took, and we got married right out of high school when we were 18. We had our daughter by the time we were 20. We were divorced by the time we were 22. We were kids that got together. And I so wanted that story of living our whole lives together. We're living our whole lives together. Way different than I ever thought it would be. And I still nurture him, and he still nurtures me, and his wife nurtures both of us through, and nurtured both of us through for years, parenting our shared child. Mothering is not about a bloodline. Mothering is not about a sexuality or a gender or a status symbol in life. It's such a fascinating holiday. It's a Hallmark holiday, as I keep saying. You guys know, I've told you how I feel about these Hallmark holidays. It's this manufactured thing of trying to create a celebration and sell flowers and cards and gifts and guilt people into doing something often. I celebrate my motherhood every day. I celebrate those who have mothered me through life every day. I don't need a Hallmark holiday to be able to do it. And we know I'm not going to do it this year, but I've done it. See, this is my anniversary. The first day I stepped into Unity of Sebring was Mother's Day, 3 years ago. And Joe reminded me of it this morning. He came up because I parked, and then my daughter had called me right as I was getting out of my car the first day that I came here to talk, Happy Mother's Day, and she knew I was driving over here and wanted to check and make sure I got it. So Joe said he was ready. He started to push the door open, and then I put my phone to my ear and started walking in circles in the parking lot talking to my daughter. So he was just waiting to time the door opening for when I was actually going to walk up to the door. And then when I walked up to the door, we talked about my car, because I was at the time driving a Fiat 500L, because I love stick shift cars. And to me, it's more like being a part of the car to drive. And that one had a stick shift, and I didn't know that the acronym for a Fiat is Fix It Again, Tony. And shortly after I moved up here, I was no longer driving a Fiat. I was so nurtured walking in that door the very first time by Joe. And then when I came in and Tina and I met, and I remember that when my friend, a licensed Unity teacher, who said, you need to go to Sebring because they need to hear from you. And I said, why do they need to hear from me? And he said, because they lost their minister 4 months before you lost your husband of almost the identical cancer. And his wife is there holding the church together. And I think you two need to meet. And I remember walking in the door, and I said to him, before I came, I said, okay, Hank, but are these people willing to talk about what they're going through? Are these people willing to be in the pain and in the tears and in the mess so that they can move through and grow through this loss, because I know how hard it is? And he said, you know what? I don't know. I guess you'll just have to show up and find out. And within seconds of Tina and me meeting, we were standing next to Josh outside the booth, just and that was it. It was history from there. We nurtured one another. That Sunday, when I stepped up here on Mother's Day, I was so nurtured by this congregation. You can't. I wish all of you could feel what it felt like to stand up here the first Sunday and every Sunday since. You are the most loving, nurturing group of people. Oh, you're a godsend to this planet, every one of you. Thank you. Thank you so much. But we share this, right? So we know that right now, today, and it's this, like I said, it's this Hallmark holiday, and it's this weird, awkward space for me. I don't know how any of you feel about it, but every time I see a woman on Mother's Day, I'm never sure. Should I say Happy Mother's Day? Is it a good thing for her? Is she a mom? Is she someone that always wanted to be a mom and couldn't? Does she have children and have a relationship with them? Does she hate her own mom? Does she have a relationship? Is her mother still here on this planet? How is saying Happy Mother's Day to this woman going to feel? To her and to me. I invite all of us to know that we'll dance that dance imperfectly as we dance every dance. But I found this quote this week, and I love it so much, because for me, this nurturing, this allowing ourselves to be in the moment, it's all about trusting the God in every moment. About trusting, I'm putting this down here and this up here. It's about trusting that exactly what happens is supposed to happen for the good of everyone involved in the happening. Dr. Wayne Dyer said, when you dance, your purpose is not to get to a certain place on the floor. It's to enjoy each step along the way. Parenting doesn't come with a manual. Gosh, and even if it did, probably half of us wouldn't read it anyway. We do the very best we can in every moment until we learn to do better, and then we do better in that moment. Can we nurture ourselves and mother ourselves enough? Again, it's not about a gender. It's about an activity of Godness. See, God is not an old white guy sitting on a cloud. I feel compassion for people who believe that that's what it is. You don't have to even call it God. This force of the universe, this allness of beingness, this call to life, this law of mind action, this movement of atoms and molecules and all of that, whatever you call it, we are within it, and we are called to move ourselves through to the best of our ability, to the highest possible things that we can reach for. You know, you might have birthed a daughter in this life, and you may not currently have a relationship with that daughter. I invite you into the possibility that maybe your path and her path were simply to bring each other into the beingness of motherness and daughterness. We aren't meant to walk all the way through to the finish line with everybody that we move along the way with. Can we nurture ourselves through to knowing and trusting that we will do our absolute best and that it is best enough in any moment? Can we give ourselves the self-love and the self-care to just embrace it, warts and all? Yesterday I went over to Loxahatchee to hang with my kids and my granddaughter to celebrate Mother's Day and my birthday, which is this coming week. Yay! I'm going to be 49 and fabulous. Thank you very much. Actually, that's another piece of it. So part of mothering ourselves is nurturing ourselves, right? And we're the only ones that can do that. We're the only ones that can give ourselves permission to do that. And at any moment in life, we can change our life so drastically that we can become almost a new creation. I came here so broken. This was the only hour of the week I could trust when I came here to Sebring. Was the hour I stood right here, because it's the only hour that I felt like me. And I built a life here over this last 2.5 years, adding an hour at a time, sometimes 15 minutes at a time to my 24-hour day so that I could feel like I felt like me, because I didn't know where to go when I came here. And I nurtured myself through, and as I started rebuilding my life 15, 20 minutes an hour at a time, at some point I started working out with my mom at the gym. I've tried so many times in my life to go get a gym membership and actually make it worth my while, not theirs. Right? You know, you pay the whatever a month and you think, it's nothing, it's no big deal. And then month after month, you just pay it and don't go. No. So I started going. And then I started realizing that it made me feel a little stronger. It made me have a little more stamina. It gave me a little bit of relaxation and just laser focus on something other than what was going on in my head for a few minutes or an hour. And now it's been nearly 2 years that I've been working out 3 times a week. And I have so many people over the last 6 months that keep saying to me, "Are you losing weight? Have you lost weight?" Well, the catch is I don't weigh myself. It's not that I don't care, but yeah, I don't care. I go by what I feel like. I go by how I feel during the day. Well, Mom and I were coming out of Publix day before yesterday, and just for kicks, I saw the scale and I stepped on it, and I'm going to be 49 in a couple of days, and I weighed 149 pounds. Now, I have not weighed under 150 pounds for probably 3 decades. At least 2 decades. When I came here, I was probably about 165. And it just happened because I started taking care of myself and claiming the fact that I would take care of myself. When Tom and I were talking at the gym, one of the first times that I hung out with Tom in the gym, he's like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, and Tom's all jacked, and he's like, you might not want to do this. And I'm like, no, I don't necessarily want to do that, because that's probably 6 days in the gym, and thank you very much, I have a full-time job. And I told Tom then, what I wanted to do in coming here was to move and feel my body move in a way that it hasn't in a while, and to do something for myself that felt good. That's what we do. We need to find those things to nurture ourselves with. Maybe it's going to the gym. Maybe it's going over off the circle and putting your feet in the little walking beach behind the, Civic Center? Yeah, behind the Civic Center. Maybe it's standing at the end of the pier and watching the sunset and watching the bats come out at dusk. There's this really cool family of bats that lives, it's so neat. Maybe it's watching the moon. Maybe it's going for a long walk. Maybe it's calling somebody that you haven't spoken to in a long time and you have felt some kind of way about. Maybe it's reestablishing a relationship. Maybe it's stopping smoking. Maybe it's including something in your life, or maybe it's moving something out of your life. But this is our invitation, and this is your homework this week, is to do 3 things this week. Make 3 commitments to yourself that are going to be self-care practices. Now, I don't care if it's a little teeny tiny thing that will take 5 seconds. I don't care if it's assigning your keys a place to live in your house so that you don't have to look for them anymore. Maybe it's rearranging one of your cabinets so that you don't have to reach this far for something that you use a lot, and it doesn't make sense that it's up here. Maybe it's rearranging your cabinet so that it's down here. Maybe it's starting to write cards to people you love and committing to 1 card a week. Whatever it is, make it a practice that makes you feel better about being you. Because that's what the divine nurturer within all of us is there for. It's there to help us feel better about who we are and the contributions we make to this world. My son and I regularly in West Palm, and he reminded me of this yesterday, we used to go and drop various numbers of pennies outside of the supermarket, and then he would run around making sure they were all up on heads, because we wanted people just to be able to find a penny on heads up and feel a little better. That's my son. That was his idea. And my kids, yesterday, we sat and spent a good chunk of time reminiscing about, my kids are almost 13 years apart. It's almost like having 2 only children when you have children with that span. And we reminisced yesterday about what it was to have me as a mom for my daughter and what it was to have me as a mom for my son. And they weren't always the same thing. My kids are very honest, they're very loving, and they will tell me about my choice of husbands and about my choices that I make in life and about how much joy and how much we've grown through the years. We have the opportunity in any minute to move into the place of mothering ourselves, mothering others. I don't care if you are a man or a woman, let go of that right now. You are nurturing things into life every day that you are living. Let's do it on purpose. Let's decide what we want to be about. Let's care ourselves into the creation of a life that doesn't just work for us, but because it works so well for us, it touches other people too. I never could have imagined walking through those doors 3 Mother's Days ago, or 2 Mother's Days ago. This is the 3rd Mother's Day. I never could have imagined this Trish standing up here talking to you 3 Mother's Days later. The path that these 3 years have taken, the things we've all gone through together, the things we've dreamed up, the shifts and changes we've all gone through, and the growth that we have all experienced, it's really kind of mind-blowing. It's really astounding how many people in those 3 Mother's Days and the days in between have walked through these doors feeling broken. And because of your nurturing, they have said, I cannot believe the way this place feels. I have to come back. I have to be a part of this congregation because I feel so much love here. And it's safe to be a little broken here. And it's safe to feel our way through and to cry and to struggle and to support one another through whatever the path ahead is going to look like. Brene Brown says, only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. There is so much light here. And on those days when you're feeling a little less than best, like I got to admit, that was yesterday afternoon coming home. I got about halfway between Loxahatchee and Sebring, and my car said, nah, I think I've driven enough. Let's power down, shall we? While I'm driving and doing this, my car is going 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, and I'm like, can I find an address? Is there somewhere I can be that has markings so that when my car dies, I'll be able to have someone be able to come and tow me and pick me up because I'll be near an address? And so I pulled over into an address area and I waited a few seconds and I turned my car off. It's when we nurture ourselves, right? Instead of freaking out, here's a piece of nurturing for everybody. You want to know the most powerful thing we have at our disposal sometimes is a breath. And so I stopped and I took a breath and I said a little prayer. I didn't do like I've always done, which is making deals with God. If you just get me home. It was tempting, but I didn't do it. I thought, okay, here we are. Now, I've had a little bit of sporadic issues with my car, and yesterday it decided to resurface, but in a big way, so that now I've got practically every light on my dashboard on, and so they're definitely going to know what's wrong with it this time when I bring it, because last time the computer didn't save anything. So I stopped, and I waited, and I took a breath, and I waited, and I thought, whatever this is going to be, this is going to be for me. And my car started, and I got to drive all the rest of the way home. And I got to drive here this morning. And tomorrow morning, I want to go work out. And I have a doctor's appointment, but I have to take my car in. So I'm going to push it even further, because that's how I do these things. I'm going to go work out, and then I'm going to go to my doctor's appointment, and then I'm going to take my car in. And I'm going to call Cole at Kia and say, I'm coming, and you better be ready for me. And you'll take me home, and we'll figure it out from there. So we get this nurturing ability even in the middle of crisis. This morning, I came in here, and my body has been flirting with allergies and not feeling its best this last week. And this morning, I feel like I have cotton shoved in my right ear. So everything is really soft and fluffy over here, but I can't hear pretty much anything. And I'm going to be singing a song in a few minutes that starts with just a maybe I'll be able to hear it and I'll start at the right time. Maybe Tracy will restart the track. We'll see. We can nurture one another. I can nurture myself enough to know that whatever happens, whenever these unexpected pauses and chugs and stalls happen, that we have the power within us to take care of us in those moments. That doesn't take a mommy. That takes the divine nurturer within each one of us, and we've all got it. We are filled with the light and love and power and presence of God. Which reminds me, when we do our prayer for protection this morning, you're going to notice a further shift. I've been feeling some kind of way about the words to the prayer for protection that we've been saying, and I wanted them to be even more meaningful, so I shifted it just a little further. So today when we do our prayer for protection, watch the words, please, because we're going to shift it slightly. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Most of the shadows in this life are caused by our standing in our own sunshine." take care of you this week. You are so worth it. You are the most beautiful group of amazing people I have ever had the honor to serve. I so hope we get to do this for a really, really long time together. Have some fun this week. Do something that feels really good. And divinely mother yourself and the world. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Please visit www.unityofsebring.org for more information, to submit a prayer request, or to donate to our ministry. We hope to see you again very soon.